Good morning. Behold, I am sending you like lambs among wolves. There's something marvelously joyful in the very tone with which our Lord sends his disciples out in complete innocence and seemingly weakness. And then unleashes a power that this world doesn't have. A supernatural power in and through them. So much that he may say to us as they come back, Lord, even the spirits are subject to us. He says, I watched Satan fall like lightning from the sky. I watched as Michael kicked him out. And I'm giving you, and I have given you, the power and the authority to trample on that serpent and not to be harmed. The power of God manifest in the world. There's something that our Lord says to his disciples as he's sending them out that I think we gloss over because we've seen our Lord do these sorts of things so much. He says, whatever town you enter and they welcome you, eat what is set before you, cure the sick in it, and say to them, wait a second. Cure the sick in it? Did he really say that? Cure the sick in it. Wouldn't it be amazing if by placing your hands on someone and praying for them, they could be healed? Wouldn't it be amazing if there were great wonders and miracles being worked? I think we all desire that. Even if we have set aside any desire for working miracles because we don't think it's possible in and through us, there's still something astounding about someone like Padre Pio or St. Martin de Porres or countless saints who have just worked miracles and miracles and miracles. You know, the superior of St. Martin de Porres' community, Dominican community in Peru, had to say, enough miracles, okay, you got to do your work, you got to do all your stuff. Because every single person who came to the door and knocked on the door was asking Martin to pray for them for something, and he was obtained for them, the miracles and the healing of this person, the healing of that person, and this person getting the job that they needed, and this person getting out of this. I mean, there were so many miracles. The superior said, stop. Stop with the miracles. You got to get your daily work done. Can you imagine? And that's a story all in itself that deserves a full time of telling what happened with St. Martin's miracles. But the Lord is unleashing a power in the world that is real. And it is good because it's God working through them. But the danger with miracles is that we can become inflated. Imagine if you or I had the ability, the God-given ability to cure people just by willing it. It'd be very, very dangerous. Because we have a habit of boasting about everything that we do. Even the things that we don't do, like how tall we are. You can't make yourself 1 inch taller or 1 inch shorter, but we brag about people being tall or people being smart or these things that God does in us. We brag about the opportunities that have come. We boast, and yet we forget that God is the one doing those things in and through us. He's the one who's opened the doors. He's the one who makes it possible. And so our Lord at the end of our gospel gives us this admonition. He says, but don't rejoice because the spirits are subject to you. Rejoice because your names are written in heaven. Rejoice because your names are written in heaven. In order to really understand fully what he is talking about, I would like to share with you a distinction that comes from Catholic theology and is extremely useful. You don't have to remember the Latin, but I want to encourage you to remember the concepts. When we talk about grace, we're not talking, as many of our non-Catholic brothers and sisters use the term grace, thinking simply being in a state of favor with God, being in a state of his friendship. He likes you, you're in his good graces. When we speak about grace, when we're talking as Catholic, we are speaking about something God gives us, a share in his divine life, a divine living in us, something powerful which is not merely human. When we speak of God's grace, we're referring to that which our Lord speaks about when he says to the Samaritan woman at the well, if you remember, if you knew who you were talking to, you would have asked me for a drink, and I would have given you living water. And the water that I give becomes a fountain welling up inside of you. That's God's grace. But there are two kinds of grace, or shall we say two purposes of God's grace in our lives. And we call them separately gratia, grace, gratia gratis data, that means that it's freely given, and gratia, grace, gratum faciens, that makes you graced. What do these two terms mean? Gratia gratis data. Without cost you have received, without cost you are to give. This gratuitous grace of God is intended to operate through us. And in some sense, it's independent from the moral goodness or behavior of the person through whom it is working. A person can become a conduit of God's grace operating in my life, even if that person is not a good person. So the gratia gratis data, the grace that God operates through us, take for instance, healing the sick. Is the healing of the sick for the healer or the person to be healed? It's quite obvious. It's for the person to be healed. If you're given the grace to be able to heal the sick, it's for the sake of the sick person. It doesn't directly bear on your holiness in life. If I'm given the grace to preach, it's so that you may gain whatever the Lord wants to say to you through the preaching, not for my own glory. If someone is given the grace to be able to work some wonder, it's for the sake of those who see the wonders. And so God pours out certain graces into the world through us. And sometimes they're very normal, natural, daily sort of things, like the grace of holy orders, the grace by which a priest is capable of offering the Mass and consecrating the Blessed Sacrament, or in the sacrament of confession to absolve sins. This isn't for him, it's for you. It's for the building up of the church, operating through him. And it's true that there's an indirect fact. When a priest blesses someone, the blessing is for the person blessed, but it also becomes indirectly a blessing for the priest. So this is the gratia gratis data, the graces God pours out in and through you. And this is what our Lord is saying. Do not rejoice because the spirits are subject to you. That's me operating through you. Don't get the big head. But now take the second kind of grace. Gratia gratum faciens, the grace that makes you holy, that sanctifies. The grace that sanctifies could be the grace that God gives me in a moment when I'm kneeling or sitting in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament doing my holy hour or holy half hour, and God fills my heart suddenly with a burning love for him that I've never experienced before, a joy and a peace. That's a grace from God that's meant to make me holier. Maybe I'm reading the scriptures and an insight comes to my mind that I've never encountered before, and I see the connections between things that I've never really understood, and I say, wow, I love this. This is amazing. That's a grace. The grace to remember a past sin that I've never confessed. That's a grace. Grace is light and strength in this sort of capacity. The light to my mind to know and the strength to do God's will. And so the grace that makes us holy is the grace that not always feels good. It's the grace that I may receive in the moment that someone is cussing me out or treating me horribly. And as I'm about to put up my dukes and fight back, the Lord puts a momentary gift in my heart to bear it, to swallow my pride, and to suffer willingly. It's a grace. When you're a parent with a young child and the child wakes up in the middle of the night, baby's screaming or child's throwing up, or when your spouse is sick, or when your boss is angry, or when your people are mad because of something you said in your homily, or whatever it may be, in those moments of suffering that life dishes out to us aplenty, in those moments, God can give us a grace that will make us holier. A grace that if we receive it, humbles us, gentles us, makes us more compassionate, makes us more loving, and pulls us closer to God. That's the grace we receive when we suffer something hard and something terrible, and we can't see the reason for it until we discover that God is drawing us closer to him through it. And this kind of grace we should boast about. That's what St. Paul is saying when he says, may I never boast except in the cross. In the cross. May I never boast about how many people I converted. Let me only boast about how many times I've been beaten for the love of the Lord. Let me never boast about how many countries I've visited and brought the gospel there. Let me only boast about how many times I've been shipwrecked and the Lord has saved me. Or I've been bitten by a snake and the Lord has spared my life when there was no medicine. Let me boast about my weakness. Let me boast about my failings. And this grace is the grace that severs my love from the world and joins me to Christ, through which the world has been crucified to me and I to the world. Peace and mercy to all who follow this rule. That's what he says. And when he says grace, the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with your spirit, what is he desiring for us? That we would not hang on to or try to glory in the things God does in and through us, through our talents, through our abilities, through our gift of time, through the things that we have, through the things that we are capable of, our skills and our abilities. That we would glory in anything that will write my name in heaven. Not just writing my name in the sky, in the stars, but writing my name in the very heart of God. Those are the graces we should cherish. And in conclusion of these thoughts, I think it's important for us to recognize that no matter how many miracles you work in your life, no matter how many people you heal, no matter how many times you speak in tongues, and you're communicating with someone in a language you don't know, but it's helping them, so what? That doesn't mean we go to heaven. That doesn't make us holy. That's for them. That's for the other person. And I can say, like St. Paul, I have been given a charge to preach, and woe to me if I don't preach. The Lord has to say what he has to say, and I'm the instrument. But the miracle the world needs to see, the miracle the Lord wants to make in our lives, here and now, and the grace that is pouring into our lives today is a grace to make us holy today, is a grace to sanctify our hearts today, and to fill us with greater love for the Lord and a greater constancy of purpose in living the life that he asks us to live today. And that miracle of holiness the world desperately needs to see. The world's looking for miracles. The world's looking for incredible signs and wonders. And that's not what the Lord wants to give primarily. Because he doesn't want us to grow proud. What the Lord desires to give us is a miracle of holiness of life so profound that he can then work great wonders through us and we wouldn't lose our souls. That he can make us his instruments in all sorts of ways because we're not inflated by his using us. Oh, I'm the special instrument that God is using today. That he makes us serve his purpose well, first by making us holy.